This is a production of the AJ Podcast Network.
Pushing and pulling, I want you, but you wanna leave. I hate you, I love you, you love me, yeah, you gotta be free. If I'm your cage, leave. But if you stay with me, eventually we'll find happy.
Here we go again with another episode of the Passage Home Podcast starring the Dr. Stanley Russian, and I'm your co-host, Back Civilian. Now, please go ahead and follow our website on www.linktree.com/Passage Home Podcast. Again, that's www.linktree.com/Passage Home Podcast. There you can find all of our links, and don't forget to ask Alexa to play the Passage Home Podcast for you. And don't forget about my other podcast with me and my homeboy AJ, where everybody can relate to. And let me not forget about our newest co-host on the show, Anne Marie. And it's going to be www.linktree.com AJ and Backs. Again, that's www.linktree.com/AJ and Backs. And that's going to be I Can Relate to That. And don't forget to ask Alexa to play I Can Relate to That podcast for you. Now, if you need to get a hold of us, go ahead and hit us on passagehomepodcast@gmail.com, passagehomepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us for sponsorship, that's going to be passagehomepodcast@gmail.com. That's passagehomepodcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, Dr. Stanley Russian, how are you?
By the grace of God, everything is amazing as always. Thank you, Bax. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm well. Just basking in the glory.
Yeah, give thanks.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
So what is on the agenda for today, sir?
Well, we're coming live to Africa from Tanzania. Our guest today is Brother Solomon. He's going to give you his full name when he introduces himself. We're tying in to the portion of our podcast where we are going to the continent, speaking to brothers who have made the journey, have shown and progress in the thriving outside of this country and loving it. And today is one of those brothers who's well-traveled throughout Africa and the world, and who has laid down roots in Tanzania. And so we're coming straight out of Tanzania today with Brother Solomon. Brother Solomon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to be sending you a virtual gift basket. Probably some. We're starting a whole new franchise called Halal Chicken and Waffles. And so we're going to be sending you a virtual gift basket and coupons so you can order. Yes, sir. And so Solomon, the primary things I want to ask you about is first is your slight bio on yourself. I know you out of Florida, and give us a little bit on your background.
Okay. My name's Solomon Shujaa. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, born and raised. I joined the United States Marine Corps, did that for 4 years, and ended up in California when I was stationed in Camp Pendleton. After my enlistment, I went to California State University, Northridge, and where I graduated with a bachelor's in business marketing with a minor in entrepreneurship and Africana studies. After completing my after graduating, I then moved back to Florida, but I moved to northern Florida, Lake City, Florida. And I stayed there for about a year during my time in college, and then during that time back in Florida, I started traveling. I think my first trip. Well, I traveled to like Barbados, Jamaica, and all these things growing up, being from Florida. But my first trip to Africa was in 2017 to Ethiopia. And then from there, I just kept coming back to the continent.
Wow.
And this brother is basically what he just described, is that unrestricted flowing through the world, going in and out of African diasporas with no encumbrances on him. And this is for the average person out there who's hesitant of traveling and maybe, God forbid, still has a stereotype of, I ain't going to Africa. How did you flow so smoothly without hesitation into those diasporas?
I think for me, it was just originally just making that trip and then seeing that it wasn't what was portrayed on TV. I think that's one of the biggest eye openers, is that when you actually come to the continent, I tell people, like, people told me that have been to the continent before, like, it's different than what I see on TV. But it didn't really hit me until I actually came to the continent and saw that it really wasn't what I saw on TV. They said, oh, it's nice buildings, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I got here, I said, man, this thing looks just as built up as the U.S., in some areas probably even more. So just seeing that and having that exposure allowed me to continuously travel. So going to Ethiopia allowed me to then come back, go to Tanzania, go to Ghana. I've been in Djibouti, Rwanda for a little bit, Kenya even. I stayed there for small periods of time, but just exploring and meeting people, it was just makes it so welcoming that making that trip becomes easy once you do it the first time.
Wow.
Well,
so how long? I was just asking, how long have you actually been out there in Tanzania?
This time I've been out here for 6 months. I'm going on my 6th month now. Last time I was here for 3 months. I was in Ethiopia for about the first time I was there for about 3 weeks, and then the second time I went back for 2 weeks. And then Ghana, I stayed out there for a whole month.
So you have dual citizenship. So you'll be in Africa, then you'll come back to the States, and then you'll go back out again, or like where's your home? Where's your home?
Well, my home is, I guess, where my heart is. I feel like I'm very nomadic. Like our ancestors were nomadic, so I feel that I'm nomadic. So Africa is my home.
Wow.
And I'll always be moving around. But I still have a U.S. passport. I'm still a U.S. citizen on paper. I just continue to go from each country with a visa. So that's what allows me to travel in and out of the different countries.
So you're just doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes. yes.
Right. So I went to a Laker game once. I'm not really a sports fan, but I got some people who are high up in sports. They're very close friends of mine, and they give me their season seats, and they take me to games. They have special passes to stay there at the game. And I went to a Laker game maybe about twice in my lifetime. And the second time I went with VIP passes, and I sat behind the basket, and he had another pass to stay after the game was over to meet the players who sent him the tickets so that he can get in, so that when they come out of the locker room, they come out and thank you. And so as the crowd got thinner and thinner, the women got more and more beautiful. And then after everybody left, there was only gorgeous women there. But I noticed that most of these women, or if not all of them, were Habesha women from Eritrea. And when I hear the brother mention Djibouti, which is right off the Horn of Africa, and right behind that or next to it is Eritrea. So from Europe, so I was just sitting in the crowd, and looking at all these gorgeous sisters, and so you being there, can you speak on it?
Oh yeah, I think everywhere on the continent has nothing but beautiful women. Like right now, my future wife is actually from Tanzania, and I met her last time I was here, and then I came back and we rekindled. But or we always kept it going. But everywhere I have went, Ethiopia, Ghana, anywhere on the continent, beautiful, beautiful women, and they're natural. That's one of the best kickers about it, is that it's all natural.
Right. So, well, not briefly, I want you to expound on what your spiritual experience was when you went back to Africa the first time, or a subsequent time.
Yeah, so I say the first time I touched down, it was very much an eye-opener to me, because I had a lot of preconceived notions about touching down. And once I touched down, and a lot of that was debunked, just interacting with the people, how welcoming they were, that was a big shocker to me as well. Because growing up in Miami, especially in Miami, we're not too friendly. We're taught not to be too friendly. So then coming to the continent, having that friendly experience and that friendly encounter, like welcome brother, welcome home, it really touched my heart and helped me to feel at peace just being on the land, on the continent. And then also, the whole idea, like that's where we come from originally, really struck home with me and was like, yeah, I finally made it home. So with that, I just felt closer to myself, closer to my people. And then also to see Black people in like leadership roles in abundance, and seeing it where we were the majority was also a big, big eye opener for me. And then I think even when I went to Ghana, I met with one of the chiefs, and she actually did like the whole welcoming home ceremony. And that was very touching as well, where we poured libations and everything like that. And then it really, really helped me to feel like at home. Like as soon as I touched the continent, I felt like, oh, this is where I need to be. And that's one of the reasons why, I started my NGO and things like that, just because I felt so moved to be on the continent. I said, I have to do something impactful, not only to help Africa, but to help all the people throughout the diaspora. And that's why like a portion of what we do is actually welcoming people back to the continent through volunteering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. For what you do in your NGO, what narrative do you see coming back at you for what you put out? And what is your mission statement for the NGO that you have?
Our mission is basically we're a Pan-African organization centered around Africa and the African diaspora. We focus on 3 areas: education, health and development, and we look to do this through volunteerism. And that's our basic mission. And our vision is basically we want to see a well-sustained, educated, and unified Africa that will lead the charge in world peace. And that's pretty much our vision in a nutshell. So the narrative that we get is that like basically the unity, and we harp on the Pan-African aspect 100% because I feel that that's something that a lot of people are losing. So we're trying to keep that momentum going, even with like the repatriation home, connecting throughout the whole diaspora. So we even have like a cultural exchange program within our NGO where students here gets to work and communicate with students in the U.S. as well as hopefully in other countries in the future.
So I think you almost answered my next question. What does mission accomplish to your mission look like in the future?
Preparing the future generations to lead the charge in the unified Africa. That's pretty much it, is to unify Africa, and not just the continent Africa, but the African people.
Okay, good. So where is technology inside? I know you're teaching like an African STEM program. So how intense is the technology in your program?
Right now, we have an after-school program, and we deal with the students between like the ages of 7 and 13. So they're getting like introduced to a lot of things that they haven't seen before, because we work with students that come from like rural areas or very low income areas. So they have tablets that they're utilizing, phones that they're utilizing. My engineering days, they actually get to build things. And then we kind of use technology all throughout the program. So they're getting a lot of exposure on how to use technology and then understanding the different functions of it. And then as our also, they're learning how to code as well. So they're very young, learning how to do like Lightbot and Scratch and different things like that to help prepare them for the future.
Amazing. Okay. So when they come out of your program, what do they go into? What does it prepare them for, and with other programs that are there, or with other NGOs?
Well, right now, the initiative to introduce STEM into their schools had just started taking place in Arusha, Tanzania, or in Tanzania as a whole. So we're also looking to create a pipeline for these students. And that's why, like right now, we're actually doing a fundraiser to actually build a school so that way we can continue that pipeline all the way up into employment.
And from employment all the way to retirement.
Correct.
We're going to put a link. Make sure you email us. We're going to put a link in the description to donate to your NGO, which we discussed it earlier. That is a 501c3 NGO.
Correct.
What's your ratio? What's your demographic for girls and boys in the program?
Right now, we have about 30 students in our after-school program. Of that 30, I would say maybe about 18 of them are girls and the rest are boys.
Do you have a lot of Indian students there or Chinese in the area where you're teaching?
In the area where we're teaching is predominantly Black, but in Arusha, Tanzania, there is a heavy presence of Indians here. And one of the problems that we see is not only with Indians, but even with the Chinese, is that they are owning a lot of the big companies here in Arusha, Tanzania. So one of our initiatives is to actually flip that to where Blacks are owning more of the bigger businesses here and unifying and working together to create those businesses.
Makes a lot of sense.
Right. But at the same time, how is the integration into those technologies for internships for the people that you are training? What is that like? Do they come over? Are they there and they become ethnocentric within themselves and stay themselves? Are they guests there and they're working with the people who are indigenous to the land?
From my observation, I think I see it where they do employ people that are here to work in their shops, but a lot of the times it's just them taking that money and taking it back to where they come from, or just keeping it within their own little circles. But I don't see it, from my observation, actually benefiting the people that are indigenous to the land.
Okay. What is the agriculture like in the area where you are? What are some of the major cash crops there?
Well, they grow all the fruits. Corn is a big one. Maize, everywhere you go, you'll find corn growing. And then peas, beans, and fruits, pineapples. Pineapples are the best here that I've tasted in all my travels. Yeah, apples are good. Yeah, oranges are okay. Not the best. Florida has the best oranges.
Right.
So as far as like tropical, right? And Miami is tropical. What do you feel? What do you rank Africa and Miami as far as like giving you that tropical vibe?
Well, I think in Tanzania, in Arusha, is very tropical. When you go to Dar es Salaam, is very humid. So I would think of Dar es Salaam more like an Arizona. Because Arizona is very humid and dry. And that's kind of how Dar es Salaam is some of the times when it's not raining. But in Arusha, being that it's high in the mountains, high elevation, it's very tropical, like minus like the ocean breeze.
When you mention mountain, you talking about Mount Kilimanjaro?
No, not Mount Kilimanjaro. We can actually see it from here a little bit, but it's like just higher up in elevation. The closest mountain to us is Mount Meru.
Mount Meru. Are you closer to Uganda? I think that's right above you.
I think the closest thing to me is Kenya. Nairobi is literally like, I want to say like maybe 3 hours away.
So, yeah. So I can see, okay, for the average person coming over, what kind of businesses can you see that you can take an average brother from LA and can go over there and thrive with, and just, you can take any of the African countries that are there. You didn't name cacao. Is there much cacao grown there, which is basically chocolate, the raw chocolate?
I'm not sure if there is here. I haven't stumbled upon it. I'm not big of a chocolate eater. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What do you eat out there? What are you eating out there?
Well, I'm pretty much I guess you would call it like a vegetarian. So I eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, that type of stuff. No meat.
See, an alkaline diet, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
You want it. Mm-hmm. That's what's up.
So let me ask you this. Is okra one of the crops that is grown there?
Yes. Okra is in abundance here.
Okay, good. And then, in most of the African countries you've been, there should have been okra there.
Yes, there has been in all the countries that I have been in okra there.
It's very important especially if you're a vegetarian. Okra is very important on the Africa because it came from India and Africa, period. But when you start talking about one of the most favorite dishes in Africa is groundnut soup, groundnut stew. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Okay. So if you eat a lot of peanuts, a lot of people have allergies to peanuts. But did you know that if you eat okra with nuts, with those nuts, the lectins, because let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why you can grab a bunch of peanuts and pull them out the ground and you will never see insect bites on a peanut?
I never noticed that.
I never noticed that either.
Okay, but you see them everywhere, right? But you don't, you won't see insects. Because think about this. You see insects everywhere. And they're some of the most greediest living creatures on earth. and a peanut is unprotected underground. And they can't put insecticide on it. But when you pull them above the ground, you never see insect bites. Because peanuts bite back. That's why kids have allergies. I saw a kid once when I was teaching who knew another kid was allergic to peanuts, and he reached into his sandwich and smeared some on the kid. The kid almost died. They had to rush him off the campus. He didn't have an EpiPen. Wow. Yeah. But the reason why they're so vicious is because for the same reason you don't see insects eating, because peanuts have lectins on them. And lectins is what keeps the insects from eating. But at the same time, when we eat peanuts, they irritate our stomach, and they can, for the same reason the insect can't eat them, a lot of us can't eat them either. And so, but when you eat okra, the sliminess of okra lines your colon and allows the lectins to pass through, and the nutrients and the proteins from the peanut to go through the lining of your stomach and nourish your cells and stuff. And it's amazing that the good thing with Africans, because you got to imagine that Africans did not have refrigeration for thousands of years. So they used to bury their food in the ground and stuff. So they put the peanuts in there to keep the insects from eating their food. But at the same time, they put okra in there so that when they ate the food, was nourishing to them, but didn't damage their stomachs. Because, it's 1,000 years ago was bad if you got Crohn's disease or leaky gut, which comes from lectins burrowing a hole through your intestines, which is very painful. And you won't be able to eat anything at that point. So just some chatter about African history and how one of the reasons why they have such hot peppers, because peppers, those seasoned peppers have lectins also. So with the combination of peanuts and lectins and the peppers, they were able to keep their food fresh in the ground and not let insects eat them, but they were able to eat it themselves by putting the okra in there. Well, the way of the world, they can only come from God. If they couldn't eat, we wouldn't be here today talking about it.
Yeah, and there's something about them okras. My uncle up in Alaska, he would soak the okra in the refrigerator with water, and he would drink the water.
Right, that's a big remedy for diabetes, a lot of stuff. Yeah, because it soothes. We're not going to get too far into health. We spoke enough on it right now, but we'll revisit this another time, Max.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why you're supposed to chew your food for 40 times is because you create slime, the same slime that you have on that okra. That's how your food is supposed to go down to your stomach and be delivered and stuff so that it can digest it properly and stuff. I'm humbled talking to this brother, his moves that he's made, where he's at, and we're preparing a way to bring a lot more people your way. You're one of the vanguards of getting out there and starting to set things up. But right now, there's going to be a steady stream of people leaving here because, it's our time to return home. This program is brought to you so that, we can just, let people get into a comfort zone that it ain't everything that we've been told that it was, that, that somebody's out to get you and you're scared to go to sleep at night and you're in an environment that's hostile to you. It's the exact opposite. And Correct. That's why you got Indians there that you can't get out of Africa. You got Chinese there that you can't get out of Africa. You got white people there that you can't get out of Africa. You got countries that are sitting back quietly who have retired off the money they've made off of Africa. You don't hear about a lot of the European countries, because they have made, long before the Chinese got there, Chinese have always been there, but long before the Johnny-come-latelys in technology got there, you had companies like Belgium, the Netherlands. How many times are you going to hear in a body shop or beauty shop the country of the Netherlands, other than talking about Amsterdam? That whole country is retired. But people don't know, when you stop at the Shell gas station, Shell gas is called Dutch Shell from the Netherlands. That's the family, the Orange family, have been getting oil out of the Congo for over 400 to 350 years and stuff. And so that whole country is retired. They don't worry about money because of Africa. Africa supported countries. It can support you. And it was designed for when I say you, I'm talking about the average Black person that's over here. that's struggling or thriving, but everybody can thrive in Africa. And the continent is big enough to absorb all of us, not miss a beat, and with us thriving. Solomon, would you agree with me?
Yeah, I would agree 100%. The cost of living here is very affordable. And there's a lot of opportunities on the continent for businesses to create your own businesses. When I was in Ghana, I met with several people that had retired to Ghana from the U.S. and they had like the whole strip or street full of like U.S. backed or people from the U.S. businesses all in that one area. And then there's communities of people making the move back. That's also humbling to see when you're traveling or when you come back to the continent, is that there's people that share the same exact story as you, being in the U.S., coming over here and then actually working together. So all is truly amazing, and the opportunity is there.
Solomon, hopefully we will come back to you again, because where we are right now in the podcast is we're highlighting businesses, but we're going to be financing businesses to create another place where people can go and settle in and just do our thing over there, just like you have done. But right now we're getting ready to close out. But I give a special shout out to Victoria Richards for introducing me to you. Look forward to talking to you again. Bax, you want to add anything before we get out of here?
Man, well, it was a pleasure talking to you, man. I might have to reach out to you after this, man. You might see me in Tanzania. I'm working on my passport right now. So anyway, I could get out there and network and just see where I'm from, man. Definitely.
On that, we're going to close out and say thank you from all of us, and hold it down. We're on our way.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Shout out to Professor Richards. And yeah, you all are so welcome.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you.
There we go. For another episode of the Passage Home podcast, we want to go ahead and thank our guest for sharing his experience out there in Tanzania. Thank you again, Dr. Stanley Russian. You are a great host, great mentor. And don't forget to hit us up on www.linktree.com/Passage Home Podcast for any questions or donations. Have a great day.
This my last night, this just a wrap. Pushing and pulling, I want you, but you wanna leave. I hate you, I love you, you love me, yeah, you gotta be. If I'm your cage.
This is a production of the AJ Podcast Network.